All right, honest thoughts and reactions as I read a chapter in the Bible. This one is actually going to be the second time I read Genesis 10. I am Mountainsmith, and I'm going to kind of breeze through this one because the descendants of Japheth, Ham, and Shem. And I know there's a few things in here that we need to remember for later on, even though I've never read anything further. But I am going to kind of breeze through this because it's a lot of names and all that. Also, I'm kind of rereading it so I can recount it for myself, so for later we have an idea. Okay, so let me just kind of breeze through this here. This is the account of the families of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And I know I mess up all these names, but anyways, the three sons of Noah. And you know, I think this matters. I think it's going to matter for genealogy for later as I'm reading this, because if these are the three sons of Noah and their wives, that should tell us, if these are the only people left on earth, let's remember that after the flood, that should tell us who's good, who's doing good and evil. That's just kind of where I'm going with things, because everything has kind of come from Adam and Eve, and if these are the only three people left. All right. Anyways. The three sons of Noah. Many children were born to them after the great flood. So the descendants of Japheth. Gomer, the descendants of Gomer, the descendants of Javan, their descendants became the seafaring peoples that spread out to various lands, each identified by its own language, clan, and national identity. And those are the descendants of Javan, were Elishan, Tarnish, Kiptman, and Radam. So this is why I wanted to go back through this, because this is talking about seafaring peoples that spread out to various lands, each identified by its own language, clan, and national identity. So why and where did they suddenly come up with these different languages? Or is this speaking about something later? National identity. So they later on became of different nations also. That's what we're assuming. Then the descendants of Ham, a whole bunch of them. The descendants were Cush and Seba. Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod, who was the first heroic warrior on earth. Since he was the greatest hunter in the world, his name became proverbial. People would say, "This man is like Nimrod, the greatest hunter in the world. He built his kingdom in the land of Babylonia, with the cities of Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Canaan." From there, he explained his territory to Assyria. I wonder, does that mean actually current Syria? I'm kind of thinking. Building the cities of Nineveh, Rebus, and Sotok. Okay. So Nimrod is going to be the greatest hunter known later. The greatest hunter in the world. So that's important. And Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod. So I know that's important for later. Let's see here. Mizraim, the ancestor, then we talk about who came from the Philistines, the Caphthites. This basically, like when you go through these descendancy lines, it needs just this entire tree to go through it. And I know it's out there. I'm not going to create one, at least as of now. But Canaan's oldest son was Sidon, the ancestor of the Sidonites. Whatever that is. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Hittites. So we have all these ancestors, and I know this is for later. And then the east, as far as Sodom and Gomorrah, Adam and Seboah near Lasha, these were the descendants of Ham, identified by clan, language, territory, and national identity. And I know it's going to be the same for Shem here as well, because at the end, these were the descendants of Shem, identified by clan, language, territory, and national identity. It just seems like, how did they separate their language and their national identity so quickly? Because it just seemed to happen really quickly, and it can't be that much. All right, the conclusion. These are the clans that described from Noah's sons, arranged by nation according to their lines of descent. All of the nations of the earth descended from these clans after the great flood. So we're saying it right there also, that all the nations of the earth descended from these clans after the great flood. That's just the same thing that we ended, I think it was Genesis 9 here, where all the descendants, or all the people of earth, are from Noah and these three sons. I don't remember exactly where that was, but so, that is something I find important, and I know that we're going to get into these names a little bit later, but that's where I'm kind of at right now.